We thought it was abandoned. We thought it was abandoned.
Tonight we look at most disturbing abandoned building encounters, caught on camera, real moments, real danger. Don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying footage like this. Let's begin. Christopher Brian Hill, better known by his YouTube channel Urbex Hill, has spent over a decade documenting his solitary journeys into some of the most unnerving abandoned sites across the United States. His videos are known for being raw, unfiltered, and often dangerous. From decaying factories to derelict asylums, Chris frequently ventures into these structures completely alone and almost always at night. A risky choice in a field already full of hazards: structural collapse, aggressive animals, toxic air, or hostile human encounters. In June 2022, he visited the abandoned Westinghouse Electric Factory in Cleveland, Ohio. A relic of industrial history, the factory was once part of a 7-building complex built in the late 19th century. Although the original Westinghouse company was founded in 1886, it wasn't until 1894 that it arrived in Cleveland, eventually becoming a major player in manufacturing lighting equipment before being abandoned in 1979. For over 4 decades, the factory has drawn the attention of urban explorers, especially after being featured in a scene from the 2012 Avengers movie. In 2022, Chris made his way to the site, and what he captured would turn into one of his most disturbing explorations.
You hear somebody shooting. Damn. That's Cleveland. Wow. That's crazy. It's not even that far away from here. Oh shit, that sounds like a shootout.
Chris begins his nighttime exploration by scanning the perimeter. The surrounding area is quiet, save for the distant hum of insects, until the sharp crack of gunfire echoes through the air. While not uncommon for Cleveland, a city that frequently ranks among the country's most dangerous, it sets a grim tone for what's to come. Inside the building, Chris documents the crumbling interior. On the first floor, signs of recent occupation appear, including a mattress on the floor, a common indicator of squatter activity. He continues his way to the second level, and eventually the basement, where the atmosphere grows increasingly oppressive. Water leaks from the ceiling. Mold spreads along the walls.
Okay, I'm hearing something. Maybe it's an animal. I'm sure there's animals down here.
And in the dim corridor, Chris begins to hear unidentified sounds, subtle at first, then clearer. He initially assumes it's an animal. But not long after, he comes across spent shell casings, most likely from a 9mm handgun. It's unclear whether these were remnants of a police training session or something far less official. Either way, it adds a new layer of tension. Further down, graffiti and strange messages cover the walls. Then, deep in the basement, things escalate.
This place is so wet. Oh, you scared the f out of me. Yo. You need some help, bro? Yo. Fuck that. He's not even responding. I'm gonna leave him alone. Get the f out of his way. Damn, bro, that's crazy.
At the far end of a room, Chris spots a man crouched in the dark, silent, motionless, and without a flashlight. He calls out, attempting to offer help or at least gauge intent, but the man never responds. Chris backs away, clearly unsettled. His breathing quickens. He tries to remain calm.
Let's see what I got. Let me get this dude a $20 bill. Yo. Hey, I got some money for you. Shit, he's not there. And he's not responding.
A few minutes later, Chris returns, intent on offering the man money. But when he reaches the same room, the figure is nowhere to be found. The room is empty. Given the complexity of the building, it's entirely possible the man had simply slipped into another corridor or room. But then, something far more disturbing happens.
There's a lot of bats down here too, damn.
As Chris continues filming, a brief glimpse of the same man can be seen in the far edge of the frame, standing silently in a doorway, watching him. Chris doesn't seem to notice. He walks on. Viewers would later freeze frame the moment, revealing what he missed in real time. Not long after, Chris hears a cell phone vibration somewhere nearby, a chilling sign that others may be present and hiding in the shadows. With everything adding up, the gunfire, the shell casings, the mysterious man, and now possible others, Chris finally makes the call to leave the building. He escapes without confrontation. But the identity of the man and his intentions remain a mystery. While some viewers speculated the man was simply a squatter trying to stay hidden, others believed he may have been connected to the gunfire heard earlier, possibly seeking refuge after a nearby incident. Another unsettling theory suggests the figure may have been watching Chris long before he realized it, only revealing himself when cornered. The delayed cell phone vibration implies more people were inside, possibly waiting in silence. Who was the man in the dark? And more importantly, how many others were nearby, never seen on camera? Chris never uploaded another video from the Westinghouse factory. Whatever happened in that basement may have been closer to danger than he ever expected. Filmed in Tartu, Estonia, this video was originally uploaded to YouTube in August 2016. It documents the visit of 4 teenagers to a long-abandoned sauna with a deep historical past. Constructed in 1915, during the era when Estonia was under the control of the Russian Empire, the sauna served its purpose for 8 decades before being officially closed in 1995. After its closure, the building sat untouched for over 2 decades. By 2018, it had been fully renovated and repurposed into a modern beauty salon, a transformation completed just 5 years before this video's most recent upload in 2023. But back in 2016, the structure remained decayed and forgotten. Upon entering the building, the teenagers found the interior in a state of extreme disrepair. Mold covered large portions of the walls. Rust had overtaken the old heating systems. The floor was riddled with holes, and the entire structure seemed fragile, on the brink of collapse. As they continued exploring, they encountered disturbing signs left behind. On the walls, ominous phrases were scrawled in faded paint, including one particularly unsettling message: "You can't hide." Other rooms contained crude stick figure drawings and graffiti that gave the space a sinister atmosphere. For a time, the exploration seemed uneventful, eerie but harmless. They noticed old shoes and personal items left behind, but there was no indication that anyone had visited the sauna recently, let alone lived there. That changed about 20 minutes in.
käisin küll ju, seal ei käinud või?
käi läbi selle liha või jah?
no kurat, siin on liha ja see on nii kahtlane. Küsi kas...
One of the teens discovered a curtained doorway tucked away at the back of the building. Curious, they pulled the curtain aside and shined a flashlight into the dark room beyond. In that moment, a sudden, blood-curdling scream rang out from within the shadows. Without hesitation, the group bolted from the building in total panic. By the time they reached their car, the sun had already dipped below the horizon. Shaken and breathless, they left the site behind, and according to the uploader, none of them ever returned. Though the encounter wasn't caught fully on camera, the sudden terror in their voices and the urgency of their escape was more than enough to convey the fear they felt. It's widely assumed the scream came from a person living inside the abandoned structure, likely a squatter who was startled by the unexpected intrusion. Even so, the experience was deeply disturbing. Most viewers believe the scream belonged to a homeless individual, possibly someone using the sauna as temporary shelter. The location, isolated and unmonitored for years, would have made an ideal hiding place for someone trying to avoid attention. Still, the threatening messages on the wall, paired with the sudden scream, have led others to speculate about the possibility of something more sinister, or at least more calculated. If the scream was simply human, why had no one found evidence of occupation before? And why did the graffiti seem like a warning, not to intruders, but to someone trapped inside? The sauna may have been empty, but in that one room, behind that one curtain, something was waiting. In March of 2022, YouTubers Megan and Chris, known for their exploration channel Back in Time MC, uploaded a video documenting their visit to a dilapidated farmhouse located somewhere in the UK. In the video's description, they explained that they had gained access through an open window around the back of the building. Upon entering, it was immediately apparent that the house had been left to decay for years. The floors were blanketed in dust and dead leaves, cobwebs clung to every corner, and the few items that remained, including shoes and personal belongings, appeared untouched for decades. Dead animals were found on the floor, and shotgun shells rested atop a bedside table. Despite the state of abandonment, a few details stood out. A light bulb in one of the bedrooms appeared fairly new, and some clothing in the closet looked barely worn, hints that someone may still be living there. Photographs scattered around the home revealed that a family, including multiple children, once called this place home. But the story took an unexpected turn when Megan and Chris moved upstairs.
It's a thin, narrow piece of carpet that comes all the way across. Absolutely nuts. It's all come into this bedroom here. And wow.
I'll just squeeze in front of you. Got out, yeah?
Oh my god! Fucking hell! You're alive!
You are?
Fucking hell, man.
You live in here, you can't live in here. Yeah? You
No!
can't. But we can't. Live
We
in
thought it was
here.
abandoned. We thought it was abandoned.
You can't live in here. Yeah.
As they entered one of the upstairs bedrooms, they were met with something completely unforeseen. Hidden beneath a long strip of carpet leading across the hallway and into the room, an elderly woman was found asleep in the bed. Startled by the sound of footsteps, she awoke, and so did the tension. The pair had believed the home to be abandoned. The surprise was mutual. Though they respectfully blurred her face in the final video, it was clear the woman was elderly and living in extremely poor conditions. She introduced herself as Jane and explained that she had no immediate family able to care for her. The couple, taken aback, chose to stay and speak with her.
What happened was, I came here to help somebody,
Okay.
and this is only for a week I'm coming,
Yeah.
and that was 1993.
Oh god.
Wow, so you've been here nearly 30 years.
Yeah.
Nearly 30.
Over the next several minutes, she described how she came to live in the farmhouse. According to her, what was meant to be a short stay in the early 1990s had turned into nearly 3 decades of isolation. Although Megan and Chris offered to bring her supplies, she seemed hesitant, claiming that she was content. She said that workers from the nearby farm brought her food and water daily. She mentioned no family aside from the farmer, whom she credited for checking in on her. Before they left, the couple promised to return soon. And for a moment, the encounter turned heartwarming. But it wouldn't stay that way. At the end of the video, Chris added a caption that revealed a deeper, more complicated reality. After doing some research, Chris was able to uncover details about the property and even spoke with someone who personally knew the landowner. According to this contact, Jane was not alone in the way she claimed. The man insisted that the farmer lives on the property as well, and that Jane's husband regularly visits, but that she often refuses assistance. He also mentioned that Jane has a brother who has tried to care for her in the past, to little success. Uncertain who to believe, Chris continued digging. He discovered that the farmhouse was not listed on any land registry records, but found that Jane had owned a separate property from 1986 to 2015. When he visited that property, it was in similar condition, overgrown and falling apart. Eventually, he reached out to local adult social services. Their response was brief. They were aware of Jane, but could not release any further details. Chris informed the man who had contacted him that he and Megan were still willing to visit Jane again. But from that point forward, no further updates were shared. The encounter left more questions than answers. Was Jane truly isolated, as she claimed? Or had she chosen this life of solitude, rejecting help from those who cared? The stories from Jane and the man who contacted Chris didn't fully align, leaving the truth somewhere in the middle. Some viewers speculated that Jane may be suffering from undiagnosed mental health conditions, causing her to resist help or blur the truth about her family ties. Others believe that Jane simply prefers the life she's known for decades, no matter how bleak it seems to outsiders. Whatever the truth, the image of a woman living alone in near ruin, untouched by time, surrounded by dust and silence, lingers long after the video ends. Will anyone else come looking for her? Or will future explorers walk into the same room years from now and find her still there? Located in one of Cleveland's more troubled neighborhoods, Robert Fulton Elementary stands as a decaying reminder of a once thriving school system. The building, now over 90 years old, has been vacant for more than 13 years. Local residents have long voiced their frustrations, calling the site an eyesore, a potential hotspot for crime, and a drag on neighborhood property values. In response, the city of Cleveland announced plans to convert the school into a mixed-income housing project, though the initiative remains in the planning phase as of now, with renovations slated to begin no sooner than late 2024. Until then, the abandoned school remains untouched and unnervingly preserved, as one of the creepiest former schools in the United States. In May 2023, urban explorer Chris Hill of the Urbex Hill YouTube channel returned to the site alone, this time in the middle of the night. It was his second visit to the school. His first had been a year earlier, during which he reported hearing unexplained chanting, creaking, and banging. Despite that unsettling experience, Chris was drawn back. But what he found on his second visit would prove even more disturbing.
The decay is crazy in here.
From the start, it was clear the building had suffered immensely. Paint peeled from every surface, floors sagged with water damage. Furniture and supplies from the school's former life had been left to rot. Yet what made the experience even more unnerving was the knowledge that children had once run through these same halls, just over a decade ago. Chris methodically documented each floor, navigating collapsed staircases and debris-littered classrooms. The upper floors appeared particularly unstable, with sections of the floor barely holding his weight. Still, he continued deeper. After exploring the main levels, he descended into the basement, the most deteriorated part of the structure. Down there, the air was thick with moisture, and large portions of the lower rooms were partially flooded. As he walked through the darkness, he began noticing strange signs: makeshift bedding, scattered clothing, and other items that suggested someone may be living there. Then, around the 30-minute mark, Chris heard a loud, sudden bang from another room. His flashlight swept through the darkness, but no one was visible. Not yet. In one of the classrooms, he found a chilling warning scrawled on the blackboard: "Don't explore alone." A second message taped to the door read simply, "Keep out." He entered the room regardless, and that's when things took a terrifying turn. A scream pierced the silence, loud, panicked, and unmistakably close. Chris bolted from the room, sprinting through the dark hallways toward the exit. As he reached a safer distance outside, he looked back, uncertain whether someone was following. Later, as he reviewed the footage from earlier in the night, he noticed something he had missed in real time. Near the beginning of the video, his camera had briefly captured a figure slipping into a nearby room, a dark silhouette, partially obscured in the frame. It now seemed likely that the man had been watching him from the start. In the footage of the scream, Chris had pulled back a curtain in the room moments before, and there, for just a few frames, the outline of a man was visible. Whoever it was, they had been staying there. And from their perspective, it must have been equally terrifying to see someone tearing through what they considered a home. Some believe the man was a squatter startled by an unexpected intrusion, possibly thinking he was in danger. Others point to the nearby gun violence and abandoned property conditions in the area, suggesting the building could serve as temporary refuge for those avoiding law enforcement or seeking shelter. In any case, these encounters are unpredictable and can escalate without warning. Urban explorers often walk a fine line between curiosity and danger. Who was the man in the curtain room? Had he been following Chris the entire time? Or had Chris unknowingly walked into someone else's nightmare? Chris hasn't returned to Robert Fulton Elementary since, but the building still stands. And chances are, someone is still inside, waiting. In October 2019, YouTuber Baker X Derek, a motorcycle tour guide based in San Bernardino, California, uploaded footage of an unplanned exploration that took a disturbing turn. While riding along a remote stretch of highway, he spotted what looked like an abandoned home perched on a hillside, and curiosity led him off route for a closer look. From the moment he stepped onto the property, it was clear that someone had been there recently, but not the original owners. The house, though in disrepair, still retained glimpses of its former beauty. Yet, even under daylight, the building gave off a sense of unease, the kind of quiet that makes you feel watched.
Ooh, fucking heebie-jeebies, dude. Dude, that dark room. I kept feeling something was gonna jump out at me. What's down here? Dude, I think I hear somebody. I think I hear something.
Derek wandered cautiously through the house, taking note of the eerily intact interiors. Unlike many abandoned structures he had seen before, this one still had remnants of life: furniture, wall decor, personal effects. But it all felt wrong, as if the home had been frozen mid-departure. As he continued, the atmosphere grew heavier. Certain rooms, especially those unlit or cloaked in shadow, carried an oppressive stillness. Then, as he descended to the lower level of the house, he heard something that made him stop cold. A sudden, unsettling noise from deeper in the building. The noise was sharp and deliberate, not structural creaking or animal movement, but the sound of someone else being present. Panicked, Derek made a quick exit. In his rush to flee, he tripped and fell, but managed to scramble out of the house and back to his motorcycle. Within moments, he was gone, speeding away from what might have been a serious threat. Though the footage doesn't reveal what, or who, was inside the house, the encounter raised unsettling questions. Many viewers speculated that the noise was likely a warning from a squatter, someone using the property as a makeshift shelter. In urban exploration circles, it's commonly understood that loud, unexplained noises inside a building are often a final signal. Leave now. Squatters, especially those who wish to remain unseen, rarely respond directly. Instead, they rely on noise, darkness, and silence to deter intruders. In most cases, pushing forward after such a warning can lead to confrontation, and sometimes violence. The lack of response isn't an invitation to explore further, but a way to protect territory without direct conflict. Derek's retreat was the safest outcome, and likely prevented things from escalating. Was it just a desperate warning from someone trying to stay hidden? Or had Derek stumbled onto something? Or someone far more dangerous? The hillside home remains unmarked, its true story sealed in silence. And if another explorer enters it someday, they may not be as lucky. In the heart of central Ontario, just south of Port Elgin, there's a small community known locally as North Bruce. Though to those familiar with its darker side, the area carries a far more ominous nickname, the Devil's Elbow. The name stems from stories surrounding a once luxurious mansion at the end of a secluded cul-de-sac. According to urban explorer John, who documented this visit in 2019, the home had been associated with occult practices, allegedly performed by a high priest who lived there years ago. Locals believed the rituals conducted within its walls were the source of persistent paranormal activity reported in the area. Despite sporadic renovation attempts, the mansion remained unoccupied as of the video's upload. With its unsettling reputation and abandoned appearance, no one seemed interested in claiming it, let alone calling it home.
Okay, guys, I think I've been hearing stuff upstairs, but I'm hoping, and I mean this, I really hope that it's paranormal and not someone freaking in here. My keys are making noises. Freaking somebody down there, dude. Come on, quit messing with me. I'm just trying to freaking, I'll leave. There's something else in here. Now that I've got myself in a bad situation. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
John set out to investigate the mansion alone, at night. The structure, while showing signs of neglect, was surprisingly intact compared to other abandoned buildings he had explored. The main house was in fair condition, though the garage appeared significantly damaged. About 5 minutes into the walkthrough, John began to notice something off. Strange sounds echoed from the upper level, quick, intermittent, and just out of sight. When he finally made his way upstairs, the noises stopped. It was as if someone, or something, was aware of his movements. As he continued exploring the second floor, the noises resumed. This time, they were louder and more deliberate. John grew increasingly uneasy, beginning to suspect he wasn't alone. Although he spoke aloud, trying to signal his peaceful intent to whoever might be there, no one responded. Then, for a few brief moments, the house went quiet. But the silence didn't last.
It's floor open. Oh my God, 3 lantern. Hello? Is there somebody here? I'm not here to bother or rob anything. I was just here exploring. I thought it was a bad. Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! Oh shit!
Just as he turned a corner, a voice erupted from the darkness, loud, aggressive, and unmistakably human. The threat was immediate and terrifying. John didn't wait to investigate further. He turned and ran without hesitation, not stopping until he had put significant distance between himself and the mansion. He never got a clear look at who had spoken, or how long they may have been watching him from the shadows. Some viewers speculated that the person inside was not another explorer, given the aggressive behavior. The urban exploration community is generally cooperative, with an unspoken code of respect and safety. Making threats inside a decaying building, especially one with such a chilling reputation, would be highly unusual. A more likely theory suggests the intruder may have been someone squatting in the mansion, simply trying to scare away unwanted guests. Yet the specific nature of the threat and the timing raise questions about whether John was just unlucky, or if the house truly draws in something darker. Was it just a territorial squatter protecting his space? Or had something else taken up residence in that house? Something echoing the mansion's sinister past? John never returned to the Devil's Elbow, and whoever, or whatever, was in that building has never been identified. That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.